Hey, what's up, guys? This is Bob Bain and Joe Massi. Welcome to this week's episode of 40 Years and 40 Beers. It's been a little bit, so we've had to take a little bit of time off. But you know what? We're back together in the same room for the first time in what feels like forever. So I'm excited. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, man. Episode 11 was the last time we were here together.
And what's this, 34?
30. I was going to say 36. Yeah, something like that.
36?
30 something. So I have a good way to start off, right? So this is not nostalgia this time, right? We want to try and slip in a couple complain and conquer episodes. So anyone who knows me knows I'm not political, right? I don't pay attention. I don't pretend to be in a conversation. I don't even pretend to really be in the know. But it's like I saw Eddie Murphy one time. He said, "You have a foot in your ass no matter what. Once every 4 years, you got to pick the guy with the smallest feet."
Sure.
So you insulted me a little bit the other day, just a little bit,
Just a
and
little
just
bit.
a little bit, and I have the right to defend myself. So,
Hey, listen, you're a little out of line yourself. Like,
so that being said, you fucking Democrats and the Republicans too, which is why I don't mess with any of you.
okay. Now, I wouldn't say I'll definitely throw you a bone here and say absolutely. I'm definitely lean more left, but I would
You're a
also say
1,000% Democrat.
no, not true because I really care about crime, for example. Like I do want all the criminals and everybody out of here. I don't want lenient sentences for people. I'm that's why I say I'm more center left because when it comes to crime, I'd probably lean towards more the right a little bit. But everything else, absolutely towards the left.
One of the reasons why I don't bother is because it seems like every party will make excuses for anyone or anything or get behind anyone or anything as long as it lines up with their politics that day.
Sure.
That's how I felt yesterday. We started talking about stock, and then the conversation evolved into
The billionaire class.
the billionaire class, and then the 2008 crisis, and then banks and mortgages, and so on and so forth. So I guess your point was that was one major example, the 2008 situation. But in a general sense, banks and Wall Street and financial institutions in general take advantage of.
That's my view. It's they're out for themselves. They're really
And I
not out to
agree
help
with
the
that.
yeah.
But my 2 points were it's not exclusive to them. You get fucked at T-Mobile with your cell phone service. You get fucked at the gym. Planet Fitness jerks you off.
So it's everything. It's all corporations. It's everything.
Right. And my other point was farmers have to negotiate with the grocery stores. People who have not gone to college own small businesses. I didn't go to college.
Sure.
So, budgeting your own household finances and being good at basic math does not is not the same as being a finance expert or knowing how to maneuver the stock market. So, I understand when you get lied to, that's unacceptable. And I'm not defending the organizations who stroke everybody. But other than being lied to, which was the 2008 situation, that's when I got mixed up on, we kept missing each other during parts of the conversation yesterday. But unless you get lied to, yes, you have to operate under the assumption that everybody's trying to jerk you off all day, every day. And if you, of sound mind and body, sign the contract, say yes to the loan, take money, do the thing, you have to take some responsibility.
But it's so much easier said than done. Like I said last when we spoke about this, I think you always look at the perspective of from what you would do. Correct. That's why it's so easy for you to say that. Like I would never sign a paper or something that I couldn't afford. Or right,
I'm
right.
not yes, but I'm not saying don't do it. I've taken that leap before, and I knew in the back of my mind I couldn't handle it. I had my first car, I've got a Ford Focus, and I did a voluntary surrender. I had to give it back after 1 or 2 payments. I couldn't handle it. I knew I couldn't handle it, and I did it anyway, and you have to take responsibility for that. I'm not saying don't do the thing. I'm not coming down on somebody who does the thing intentionally or by mistake. I'm saying when you arrive at the point that I fucked up, you have to take some responsibility for that.
And I don't disagree with you, but what I'm saying is too, we're at a point in the world, right? Pretty much ever since 2008 and probably before that,
Yeah.
where everything's just about greed now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
Everything's
Yeah,
about greed,
100%.
especially in the upper, let's say, upper tranches, right, of business and wealth.
No,
Okay,
it's even worse there. All the shit you've
correct.
been telling me about the 1%, the Epstein files and stuff, it's
Yeah.
even worse there.
So that's the one thing that concerns me. Okay, so let's say, for example, the banks are already going to make money hand over fist,
Yeah.
right? They're loaning out so much money. Yeah, even if they do it at 4%, 5%, the amount of loans, the amount of money, they're going to make a fortune. Okay. So in 2008, they went and started getting loans from basically from non-credit worthy individuals. Okay. Usually some
No, they were
people screw up
giving
their credit. They
loans,
were giving loans,
not getting.
correct.
Okay,
Excuse
yeah,
me.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
they were
yeah.
giving loans to non-credit, subprime. All right, people under 700 credit scores. Some people 500 credit scores, Mass. No income verification, right? They were giving these people loans. Well, when they would sit down, a subprime loan is at what's called an adjustable rate mortgage,
Mhm.
right? Well, they didn't explain that to these people. So they're going to sit down and they're saying, "Oh my God, I'm getting this house at a 3.75 rate. This is unbelievable. My mortgage is $1,600. You know, I got the American dream. I own a home.
Yeah,
I'm going
yeah,
to
yeah.
build equity." Well, then 2 years later, the rate goes up to 7.5%.
And 16 turns into 4 grand a month. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's legit.
Now, why does like, and I see what you're saying about the responsibility of the individual. I agree. But the bank's already making money hand over fist. Why can't they just give that individual the correct loan that they
Right.
need,
No, they should.
right?
They should. But you have to. But you cannot be beside yourself when you find out that they didn't. All I'm saying
Why
is
not?
because life has taught us that the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Everybody's greedy, like you said. You don't just get hit with that realization when you walk into the Wells Fargo lobby. You know that from all your years on earth and all walks of
Well,
life.
believe it or not, and yes, the rich always do get richer, but to the extent it is now, dude, that didn't start until 1980. All right. Ronald Reagan,
Crack and coke.
yeah,
Yeah,
Reagan,
yeah, yeah.
dude, he literally slashed the tax rate
Yeah.
for the ultra wealthy. And all of a
Well,
sudden,
the Reagan era is also referred to as when crack and coke and all that started.
correct. So think about this. So, and I don't think that the ultra wealthy should have been paying the tax rate that they were paying. It was ridiculous. I want to say it was like 80%. I could be wrong. It might be lower, it might be higher, but it was in that realm. Okay. But he slashed it down to like 35% or something. All right. So based off of all those ultra high earners, the country is now losing 55% of the revenue it's bringing in by slashing those tax rates
Yeah.
55%. Right now, all of a sudden, people are and they're gutting
But what
programs.
was the legitimate intention behind doing that? What did they hope to gain or what did they think they were solving?
Great question. It's called trickle down economics. They said that if all of these millionaires and billionaires didn't have to pay taxes anymore, they were going to create jobs, right? Because then they were going to make more money. There was going to be more profit, right, at the companies because they weren't going to have to pay taxes on it, right? So the individuals weren't going to have to pay taxes. Then they gave corporate tax breaks as well.
Wait a minute. Was this slash to 30 something percent only for organizations that were
No, no,
making billions of
that was for the
dollars?
individual. But then it also goes to everything, right? So the corporations got tax breaks as well.
Okay.
Okay. Corporations are bringing millions and millions of dollars. The theory is okay, so now these business owners are going to go create more jobs. They're
Saving
going to
more
pay
money.
people
Yeah, they're
more money.
saving money. Yeah.
What do you think happened?
None of that.
What do you think
Yeah.
the business owners did?
Yeah, they pocketed it.
They kept the fucking
Yeah.
money, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't help the middle
But I'm
class.
saying, why wasn't that easily rectifiable and reversed in 85 or whenever the next guy came in?
So usually when they do these tax codes, for example, okay, those tax cuts were for 8 years. So that's why you can't just sit here and move it. Like you can't just make these decisions on a year in, year out basis.
Yeah, but this is 2026. We're talking about 1980.
No, no, no. I understand that. What I'm saying is like when they make these decisions and they pass these bills, they let the decisions last for years.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it might last 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever. But that's in the bill, the length of time that these cuts are going to last.
But it's been 45 years or whatever since the 46 years since 1980.
Correct.
What happened when it did expire? It got renewed?
It got renewed. Correct. The tax rates were never brought up higher, where they were never made much higher for the ultra wealthy. Okay, since those dates. And what's happened since then? Our national debt has ballooned.
Yeah.
Right, because we're not bringing in the revenue we should be. Now, listen. Obviously, there's waste and fraud. I'm not an idiot. Like I said, I do lean left. You hear that, guys? For all the people on the right, this is a guy from the left saying, I am aware there is fraud in the system. Okay. I'm fully aware. But at the end of the day, you and I are middle class people. We get a tax cut, right? And dude, let's just say we see an extra 3, 4 grand out of it. Well, a billionaire who's worth $75 billion because gets to keep 850 million.
Yeah,
That's
it's
not even
nothing.
going to make a dent, right? But what would that do for the government? What would that do for us, for our funding?
Well, so here's the opposite side of that coin, though. You act like if we snapped our fingers and all people that got slashed down to 35-ish% were now paying 75 again.
See,
You
yeah,
act like
but I even
the
think that's too
government would
high.
do right with that money and magically everything would be fixed. You can't pretend like that's the case.
I can't predict that, but I think we'd be in a better position. I think we'd be in a much better position.
Define better position.
We'd have more money. We would have
To do
more
what?
revenue. We wouldn't have to have these arguments about cutting Medicaid, right? Maybe we would have universal health care.
But that's my point. Do you really think the money's gonna go to universal healthcare?
We don't know until we try. I don't. I
I
agree
think
with
you're
you.
being naive to think that
I'm not. I'm.
it's gonna go to the right places.
How do we know? We just don't know, and that's the key. We kill. It's always we can't afford. We can't afford. We can't afford. Right? Or how about this? How about without the universal health care? How about we take that extra money we're bringing in and actually pay down some of our debt?
So it gets reversed and none of that stuff happens. Then what? We're right back to where we started.
We are.
You're hanging your hat on this fictitious dream that may or may not benefit us even if it did come true.
Correct, but it's just like anything. It's trial and error, right? It's like starting a business. What's the first thing you have to do? You have to see if you can do it, right?
And that's where I'm breaking down with your explanation. How many times did that bill come up for renewal between 1980 and 2026? 4, 3, 4
I
times?
have no idea, but here's the thing. Always remember, when it did come up for renewal, you got to look at a lot of variables, right? Just like anything. When you're in business, when you're in anything, there's always
This is where
ask the question, look at the variables.
Democrats and Republicans make excuses
No, I'm not
to
making an
align with
excuse.
their politics today.
Well, correct, but it's gonna make sense. If let's say who wants tax cuts more than anybody? Typically the Republicans, right?
Yeah.
Well, every time the bill comes up to maybe increase taxes, and I don't know this for sure, but for all we know, it was a Republican controlled House and a Republican controlled Senate.
You're making that up, though.
No, I just said I don't know this for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just like anything now, dude. If the Republicans control the House, when there's a vote that comes up, it's pretty much always going to be for the Republican agenda. Democrat, if they control it, it's always going to be for the Democrat agenda. That's
Yeah.
just natural. So if the Democrats or the president, let's say there was a Democratic president, right, when the tax cuts were set to expire, and he wanted to raise taxes. Well, the Republicans have control of the House. They go, no, we're not raising taxes. If I vote to raise taxes, I won't get reelected.
Yeah.
So they vote to extend them. That's how that works. That's literally, it's a shell game.
It comes to a vote. And if you lose the vote, you lose the vote. The same way that people who voted for Carmela lost fucking to Trump.
No, you're not wrong. But the other problem is, like, from what we see, the GOP always wants to basically cut civil service programs. They want to cut Medicaid, they want to cut food stamps, they want to cut this, which I agree there's abuse and there's fraud. Right. But I think you can agree that some people do need some of these government programs. Right. They need them.
That's a whole nother
I
situation.
have a real problem with people with
I'm
us.
going to get in trouble if I start talking about that.
No, I got a real problem with them cutting those people off, and then we're giving more money to billionaires. That's the issue. I just don't think
We're
that's
not giving more to them. We're taking less from them. There's a difference.
All right, same thing. Okay.
There's a difference there. There's a difference. Although I started out by saying, I was just giving an
I
example.
mean, and right now, in
of-
general, it's such like, dude, it's like a reality TV show right now, our government.
Oh, I know.
Right? Like, look what happened yesterday with the chick getting fired.
Yeah.
She got fired. The guy the other day in the hearing pulled out the picture of her plane with the fucking bedroom. I was like, so, you're always talking about waste and fraud, and you think this is a good use of taxpayer dollars?
Wait, you're sure it was a coincidence that Amazon had an outage at that same exact time?
Oh, because I'm not going to get involved in that conspiracy
Yeah.
theory. That does bring,
So-
that does bring me to something, though. We know what's going on with Israel and Iran right now, right? I don't know what's going on, but it seems like the U.S. is always just doing whatever the hell Israel wants, right?
Here's what I don't understand. Why is war still legal?
I don't know how to answer that question.
If war became illegal, don't you think it would help all of us everywhere?
Yeah, but
Right? Like all this fucking what's the
I
fucking
think that's
peace on
very
earth, all that dumb shit?
yeah, I think that's very naive, and it's all war is always going to be used to solve conflicts since the beginning of time. What are you going to do? Like, fucking Russia comes in with their 25,000 troops. You're
But
going to
hold
get
on,
the
hold on,
fucking
hold on, hold
German
on.
police force? I mean,
Has
like,
has a war actually solved anything for us?
well, World War II.
That's a long time ago. I'm saying recent times. Let's go the last 15, 20
It's
years.
all about oil, cuz.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all about oil.
And it goes back to money. So, like,
I'll tell you right
I'm not
now.
the thinnest guy on the block, but if I fat shame somebody, especially someone of the opposite sex, that's like the worst thing on earth to do.
Sure.
But it's okay to launch a fucking missile into Israel. You don't fucking think that's crazy?
Now, I understand what you're saying. You want to hear?
So illegal is
You
the
want to
only thing I
hear?
can think of.
Do you want to hear what we would need to eliminate for there to be no wars in history?
What?
This is again, people aren't going to like this.
No, not history. I'm saying moving
But no,
forward.
just saying, if there was never any of this one tradition or whatever, now or before, there would be many, many, many less wars, if any war at all.
Hit me.
Religion. Most wars.
Well, I mean, politics and religion go hand in hand for a million different reasons. But
But think of
I'm
it,
again,
the Crusades, right? All the wars back in the
murder is illegal. Why is mass murder not
so
illegal?
because
It doesn't sound
you have
crazy
what
to
so
me.
it is. There's genocide, there's mass murder, and you have to be able to prove it, right? You have to go up in the front of the war tribunal.
We launched a missile. How much more
That's
proof do
not
you need,
that's
dog?
not murder.
Because it's not illegal yet. That's what my
It's
point
not
is.
illegal. Yeah, I mean, you have,
But when that missile
but you're,
lands, it kills people.
but it also kills a terrorist, the Ayatollah in Iran. It's not killing, you
It's
know.
not only killing him, though.
I
We
mean,
didn't run up into fucking Bin Laden style and fucking hit him with two in the chest like that fucking guy did. We launched a missile and it killed millions of people.
no, you're right, and they sit there and they do say that there was a school. I don't know if you heard about that.
That's what I'm
125
saying.
kids were killed, but we don't know if that was the U.S. or if that was Israel. But anyway,
I'm not
back to
saying,
Israel.
yeah.
All right, so please, everybody, listen. Just listen to what I'm saying. Remember what Kanye said a while back?
Let's just stick to the facts.
But you remember what he said?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Kanye was saying that, the Jewish people, Jews, they run the world, this, that, the other thing. You hear it enough, right? That I think maybe sometimes it's natural. And this is what happened to me. I was like, why do people say this? I'm just curious. Like, I never thought about it. I never was like, oh my God, Jewish people this, Jewish people that. Like, hey, L'chaim, how are you? Let's have, you know what I mean? Let's have a drink.
Yeah.
Um, so I started looking into it. All right. So the Jewish population is 0.2% of the world population, right?
Really? I would have never guessed.
If you start just looking around at the heads of all the investment banks, the heads of all the movie studios, the heads of all the television studios, the CEOs of like financial corporations like BlackRock, Blackstone, whatever the hell it's called, uh,
We were just saying Oracle.
or Larry
Yeah.
Ellis, right? Go to tech, all right? Elon Musk, all right? Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
okay?
Bezos.
Bezos.
Yeah.
They're involved in everything.
The guy right now it's Satya Nadella. So the guy that runs Microsoft now, he's definitely not Jewish, but I think the guy before him was.
Again, I'm not sitting there going, "Oh my God, we got to get the." That's not what I'm saying. It's interesting, right?
That's what they mean by run, right? They have to.
I don't know. I think a lot of people say it in an
Well, Kanye's
anti-Semitic
crazy.
way.
You
Like,
can't go by him.
I,
But
I
like
I
in a
think a
general
lot of
sense,
I think when people talk about that and say this, I think a lot of them are saying it in a negative way. I think it's like,
yeah, for sure. But I'm saying like how you and I are trying to discuss that same topic a little more genuine or serious. You have to imagine that's what they mean when they say run, right? Like
I don't know. I don't think they do, dude. I think it's more of like oh, we got to stop this. We can't have this. Like the Jewish population shouldn't be running business and banks in America. Frankly, I don't know. Give me a good return. I don't care what you are, black, purple,
but
yellow.
run
Like,
but running does mean in control of. And if Jewish people, if it's a fact right now in March 6, 2026, that Jewish people happen to be at the head of multiple uh, corporations, multiple banks, multiple this, multiple that, it's just a fact. Like they aren't running shit then, you know?
But for being such a small part of the world population and being entrenched so much in business, finance, entertainment, banking, right?
Dog, most stereotypes come from a true
From the
place.
truth.
Yeah.
So here's my question. Again, good for them. Obviously they worked hard, right? And that's where I'm going with this. Is it that they all just have this incredible work ethic? Or is there some secret pipeline or some cult that gets them
Well,
like what's going
I'm
on here?
I'm not gonna touch that. What I'm thinking is what we just talked about. You just made this argument that financial institutions, home ownership, mortgage brokers, stockbrokers, they all take advantage of the little guy. And if they're all being ran by Jewish people, that's the problem that folks have when someone makes that statement, because those two things are synonymous with each other. The corporations that the Jewish people just happen to be in charge of are also the corporations that people speak about the most negative. And I think that's the connection that people take to heart, or struggle with it sounding like it's a normal conversation, because it's not really, you know what I mean? And that's the part I wasn't focused on. The lying is no good. I'm not advocating for that. What I meant, if you rewind back a little bit to your example about the subprime shit in 2008, and guy gets a mortgage for $1,600 in 24 months. Now he's paying 4 grand a month. That's egregious. That's a crazy situation. I'm not saying that anybody could have seen that coming. What I'm saying is, I think that that's the negative connection that people make, and that's the hard conversation that people have trouble getting through, is because when you come down on financial institutions, the stock market, etcetera, for being grimy, and then you also say it's a fact that they're owned by Jewish people, that's where you get into trouble, when you start saying kind of shit like that. When you get lied to, your mortgage is fucking tripled in 2 years, that's not what I'm talking about. What my whole original argument yesterday was, if the
And
guy
by
is
the way, let me
presented.
stop you, but because you just said about like when I was saying like they're involved in everything, my question isn't what the fuck we got to get them out of there. My question is, what the fuck are they doing right that I'm doing wrong?
But
That's my
that's
question.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we're complaining that they're always jerking people off, they're not really doing anything right. I mean, they're doing something right for themselves, not for the population. That's the argument.
Well, I'm not saying that has anything to do with the Jewish faith. I'm saying because there's plenty of
Oh, no,
there's
right.
plenty of
But
CEOs and bankers who aren't Jew do the same fucking thing.
right, but that's the problem, is they're at the top, and that's where that conversation starts to become a slippery slope. I know that's not your intent, but that's the connection people make. But
Yeah.
my thing was, if I'm given a $1,600 mortgage and it was the truth, maybe I could have gotten a better rate, maybe I could have gotten a better deal, maybe I could have put less down, more down, whatever. You're always going to get jerked off a little bit. If they slide that number across the table and they say it's 1,600 a month, and that's the truth, and it doesn't change unless I change it. And I look at my wife and I know we can afford it, then cool. I sign that paper, whatever. If I look at my wife and I know we can't afford it and I still sign, you have to take responsibility for that.
You're right.
There's no amount of confusion,
But what if but you also understand finances, you understand budgeting.
but you're
There are people who don't.
the insult that I referred to in the very beginning was, you're trying to say that because I don't immerse myself in finances and politics and things like that, that I can't speak from an intelligent place because I don't have the experience. And that's not necessarily incorrect. But all the things that I don't have, that you're saying makes me capable of having an intelligent conversation,
That's just ignorant.
are all the things that they don't have either. But you're saying that I have the ability to make good financial decisions because I'm in the middle class, and they don't.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you're intelligent enough. And there are people listen, there's people who have different brain capacities, right? Like you and I don't understand the shit that Zuckerberg, Elon Musk,
Yeah.
whoever the fuck, we don't understand that shit. Well, there's people out there who don't understand what we understand. You know what I'm saying?
But
And
you
I
still
agree there
have
has to be a
to.
certain level of accountability,
Right.
but I just need you to concede because I'll concede that yes, personal accountability is probably 75% of it. Okay.
But
But
let's back up a second.
we shouldn't also have any predatory lending
Correct.
practices at
I
all.
agree with that. I agree with that 1,000%. I never disagreed with that. I got aggravated because I thought you were fucking calling me stupid, and then it snowballed from there. But you can't convince me that someone sitting on the opposite side of the Wells Fargo table attempting to buy a house does not have the ability, whether they exercise the skills or not is not part of the conversation. You cannot convince me that someone who's inside of a bank trying to get a house does not have the ability to understand what the family brings in each month and understand how much goes out. You know if you can handle it or not. Whatever you say to the people on the other side of the table, whatever you do, whatever you sign, that's irrelevant. In your head, you know this is
Okay.
manageable or not.
Okay, but shouldn't they know as well? My first time I got my when I first bought my home, it was through a mortgage company, Annie Mac Mortgage. All right, that's who I went to closing with. That's who my first payment was with. They're done. They made their money off of all the fees. All right, from the closing, the transfer, all that stuff. That's where they make their money. So they don't have any vested interest in you paying the loan off. Right? It doesn't matter to them. Well, now Wells Fargo bought my loan and they had it for like, no shit, they had it for 13 years. Then all of a sudden, I get a letter in the mail saying, don't pay Wells Fargo anymore. Pay Mr. Cooper. I'm like, who the fuck is Mr. Cooper? So this is what happens. These banks just sell, right, your loan throughout the entire life of the actual loan. That's where the predatory lending or maybe the little bit of guidance, right, should come into play. Yes, the person sitting at that table, right, should be like, man, I can't afford this. But also, there's nothing that's going to prevent that mortgage company from just getting that signature because that's how they get paid. They don't get paid on the interest over the years. Their whole goal is to make you sign that loan.
But I'm not saying it's right, but it's not news either.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, so we don't have financial system collapses, right? So we don't have foreclosures. Why aren't we just at a place where, all right, you know what? As lenders, we got to make sure we're lending properly and lending to the best credit worthy people and lending to people who can pay it back. We're still going to make our money hand over fist. Why aren't we there? Why is everything
I
deceitful
mean, that's a
tactics?
legitimate
Why is
beef.
everything deceitful tactics? Why is everything I need more? I need more. I need more. You're already going to make money and be fucking rich.
That's a legitimate beef.
That's my whole thing.
I'm just saying, even if you're putting 75, 80% responsibility on the shady institution, the individual on the other side of that situation has to be 25, 20% accountable to some degree.
I'm curious about something.
Because here's my point.
Yeah.
If everybody could afford what they signed up for, you wouldn't give a fuck. No one would be having this conversation. The conversation only comes up when a Democrat or Republican needs to defend a group of people that can't cut it.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like the other thing we talked about was,
But
look,
nobody gives a fuck
again,
about anything.
I do not want people who work their ass off and make a lot of money to be giving away half their money, spending half their money. But we just found out, right, that Elon Musk is getting a friggin' $1 trillion salary package or whatever from Tesla. In my opinion, again, I just don't see any reason for there to be a trillionaire. We just don't when we have the issues we have in the country today, right? Like, look, you and I make a good living. There's times where I'm like, oh shit, I can't afford that, which is
Yeah.
insane to me with the money we make. It's insane that I'm in that spot.
I agree.
So, but I'm just curious about something. What would it cost to solve hunger and homelessness in the United States, money wise?
Oh, you can't say homeless anymore. It's unhoused. Did you fucking hear about that?
Ready? Elon Musk, $1 trillion a year, $33 billion. It's like him flipping a nickel. I'm not saying he needs to be the one to, right? He's like, I'm not saying
But
that.
I
But what
will
I'm saying is
concede.
that's how absurd the amount of money that he has is, and Bezos has, and like 33 billion.
Well,
One
first of
person,
all, that's an estimate.
one,
Let's double it. Even if you doubled it,
okay,
or million or billion,
billion.
60 billion. If we doubled it, I think it's well within reason for there to be a one-time hit on all the billionaires and trillionaires and make up that money.
Here you go. Great example. They're actually trying to do that. They're trying to pass what's called a wealth tax. And because
Yeah, but is
Republicans,
it going to go to solve world hunger or something meaningful like that?
I think it would go in more into Medicaid and stuff like that, and Social Security, the stuff that's like,
That's allegedly what they're saying to get the money. We don't know what's gonna happen once they get it, though.
well, they do have to tell us. I mean, they do. They have to, but
Oh, no, no,
every
yeah,
dollar is accounted.
I'm not saying we're
Like
gonna
that's
be
how Christy Nome got fired yesterday. Like if they could just hide things, dude, she
I'm
wouldn't
not
have had to go
saying
in front of Congress going, why did you spend $220 million on TV commercials? Like
I'm not saying we're gonna be kept in the dark the entire time. I'm saying you can't pretend like what they say the money's gonna be used for today is not gonna be what the money's gonna be used for in the future. They could come up with any fucking excuse about why they had to reallocate the funds to X, Y, or Z.
like the thing that I always hear is, and I say this myself, is think about this. Richest country in the world. And we have people who can't afford to eat.
Yeah,
But then we have billionaires and trillionaires.
the
Now,
unhoused.
think about this. The past year, when you hear this stat, the past year, wages have not risen, right? Prices have gone up on things, utilities have gone up. Yeah, gas has gone down a little bit until fucking Iran.
What do
Thank
you
you.
mean
But anyway,
wages have not risen? Minimum wage?
no. As far as like our wages and relative to inflation expenses. So like if prices go down, so
You don't get a raise every
if you're
year.
making 150 grand, yeah, but I haven't gotten one in like 11 months. Prices are still going up.
You only
So
get one once a year.
I understand that. I'm coming up for another one. What I'm saying is since I got my last raise, prices have gone up. So my wages now aren't keeping pace.
But but the intent is you're supposed to wash out.
Yeah, wages are not keeping up with inflation.
I'm saying
You know,
mine are.
they
So
are.
this is my point.
No. I hear what you're saying. So for example, yeah. So let's say, all right. So let's say inflation went up 4% in 2025. Okay. For 2026, you got a 4% raise. So now, yes, you're keeping up with inflation. But since
It may not be identical all 365 days of the year, but that one time where you get your raise each year, your annual review, you wash out.
and
I've been.
not always. You don't always do it because you don't know, dude. If you get a 4% raise and your utilities go up 20% a month, you already lost, right?
Yes, but I'm saying,
Which has happened.
but generally speaking, it's not that far off after the annual review period.
No, but you're supposed to be making out. We're supposed to be getting richer. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're the richest country in the world. We shouldn't be breaking even. We should be making more money, right? Every year. When you get a raise, you should be making more money. All right. We shouldn't be getting raises to keep up with inflation.
Right. No,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So we're breaking even. The top 1%, their wealth increased by $700 billion this year.
But here's the thing. I'm not excusing illegal activity. I'm not excusing being grimy. I'm not excusing illegal activity. I'm not excusing people being dishonest or pulling the wool over somebody's eyes or cheating, lying, and stealing to get where they're at. I'm not excusing that.